I will do that.
A little announcement. Okay. There it goes.
There we go.
Okay. Meeting called to order. Roll call, please.
Mayor Canos,
Here.
Mr. Rambelang,
Here.
Ms. Greenfield,
Here.
Ms. McCready,
Here.
Mr. McQueen,
Here.
Mr. Rivero,
Here.
Ms. Zamara.
Here.
Notice of this meeting was provided to the Bernardsville News and Courier News, filed with the municipal clerk and posted on the municipal bulletin board on December 27th, 2021. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Look at my flag in the picture here. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. We have a presentation tonight from Olivia Manning from downtown Bernardsville. Jack, you have your hand up. Did you want to say something?
I have it up by accident, sorry.
Oh, okay.
When I muted myself, I must have hit the hand up.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
All right, Olivia, you are up.
I am up. Hi, everyone. Just wanted to touch base. It is still the beginning of the year, even though we're almost at the end of January. And I know most of you are probably going to squeal when I mention a Christmas parade, but I wanted to make sure that we start getting some dates down on calendars so that you can be aware of things that are not only just going on, but that some of you may be involved with. So I wanted to simply highlight some of the events, specifically the ones that will be either requesting use of borough property. Some of these may actually be on school property, like at the high school again, like we've done previously. And then some events we are actually partnering with Recreation again, since we're doing such a wonderful job working together. I think that we are a great partnership. So we may not need assistance in any way, but at the same time, we want to make sure that everyone's aware of what's going on. There will be some events, some smaller ones along the way, potentially some free things like shopping events that may not be of any concern. And when those dates pop up, we'll let you know as we get closer. But as of right now, some of the bigger ones, I wanted to make sure that everybody knew. I'm happy to send this list to you all following the meeting. You don't have to frantically jot everything down or whatever is easier for you, but feel free to reach out to me if you need more details. So first up is going to be one that we're partnering with the Recreation Department on. It will be held at the pool. It's going to be an Easter event on April 9th. We actually just booked a petting zoo. We're going to do face painting, obviously Easter egg hunt, all those fun things. I believe we have not 100% confirmed, but probably about 80% there. We have the Minuteman that'll be coming and serving some food. It'll be from 12 to 4. So that should be a fun springtime event since we haven't done anything like that in the past. And yes, the Easter Bunny will be there. So be on your best behavior. So that is April 9th. June 5th, we will be bringing the car show back on that date. The intention is the high school. I have reached out to them, but they most certainly, why would they have June on their minds right now when they're living day to day? So hopefully we'll be in touch with the school soon to confirm all the details for that, but the car show will be there on June 5th. Over the summer, we are working again with Recreation to enhance some of the movie nights that they already do by partnering with them for 4 Wednesday nights in the summer. Well, actually, one of them, we're still actually working out details. We might hold it at the Bernardsville Center, similarly to Boxcar doing a movie night there, a drive-in movie 2 years ago now, I think it was 2020. So we may do one night there, but we will firm up those details and let you know. But the other dates will most certainly be at the pool. So it would be June 29th, July 6th, July 13th, and July 20th. And those will be all some fun summer movie nights for the community. Those will be free. And again, partnering with recreation and doing that over at the pool. That is so far for the summer. The I Love Bernardsville 5K will be coming back on September the 18th. That is something that our phenomenal police department helped incredibly with. Obviously, we will be connecting with you to do that again. Course will be the same. It's sanctioned. Everything about everything hopefully will be the same, minus a hurricane, hopefully, because that was not fun for anyone. So that is September. And then in October, we have set up an event with the Haunted History Productions company that actually did a tour in Somerville. And we're going to be starting to, and this is a recreation-led event, but we are working with them. And they're going to be doing some haunted history tours in Bernardsville, which will be fun. They'll be dressed up in costume and walking around town. So there won't be any formal road closures or anything with that. It just may be a situation where we may need some help with some police on that day for pedestrians walking around more heavily than usual. That will be October the 8th, with the rain date as the 9th of October. So that'll be the haunted history tour. Should be pretty cool. October 29th, we would like to bring the trunk or treat back after a 2-year hiatus. It's something that people have been really wanting and asking quite a lot about. Do we have to have it at the train station? No. I know this is the end of October we're talking about here, so nobody really is paying attention to that, but I know it's a topic of interest and also potentially concern. And also the town trick or treat, which is phenomenally attended last year. So we'll be having that and the costume contest as well. So keep that in mind for October 29th. We'll talk more when we get there. And last but not least, for right now, the holiday parade will be on December the 3rd. Around that weekend, we are likely hosting additional programming, making it more of a weekend, I guess, festivities of things to do, potentially, concerts. The owner of the movie theater offered the theater to do a Polar Express night where kids can dress up in their pajamas, and a slew of other potential events going on. So we'll obviously give you more as we get closer to December. I realize it's a whole year away, but as we all know, those things come up pretty quick. So please keep these things on your radar. And if you would like more detailed information about things going on, please do consider attending the community events we hold. We are calling them seasonal events. The winter event we held on the 19th last week, we covered some of the survey results that we did in that meeting. And then we will continue to cover updates on what we're doing, our committees and how they're moving along with a lot of their projects. Some committee projects are just on fire right now. They're just rolling through some really amazing things. And then any other details and feedback will be at those meetings as well. And if you'd like to write these down, you're welcome to keep those on your calendar, but we will be putting them on our website now so that folks can prepare for it. But the next one for spring is April 20th. The summer meeting is July 20th, and the fall meeting is October 19th. So please do consider coming. And if you can't come and you have a fellow friend, neighbor, colleague, anyone who can come, I know I saw some of you there this past meeting, please do attend. It is open to the public. And if we hold it in person, we'll let you know where that will be. Outside of that, I could probably go on for hours, but I'm going to leave it at that. If you have, again, any other questions or need some more information, I'm happy to provide as needed. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you, Olivia.
Yeah.
Olivia, can I ask you a question?
Okay.
Yes.
So first, thank you for, it's nice to see downtown Bernardsville grow, and all these events are fantastic. So thank you for that. If you had your druthers, actually, it's a sort of a two-part question. Would you have the car show at the high school and the trunk or treat at the train station? If not, where would you have them? And then I guess the second part of that is, I know as a council, we're really going to try to spend a lot of time and resource on the polo grounds. Is that a space that we can use and utilize better?
So car show, I will say the high school is really a great spot because of the number of parking spaces. There's over 100, I believe I counted. So we can accommodate more cars. I know once you start announcing that kind of stuff early, a lot of guys like to come and bring their cars of all different shapes and sizes. So it's a good space for that. And there's ample room to walk around because it's set up with the aisles. The train station, it's a really great spot because of its proximity to the actual commercial corridor. The Bernardsville Center has been offered for some various things, but the size doesn't always quite work out, especially with flow and getting people walking around. That's a big part of our planning, is making sure that there's no bottlenecking and that now we have to consider social distancing too. So, there's a lot of factors that go into that. The train station, if we move the trunk or treat, we can potentially move it to the library parking lot, especially if it's on a Saturday, like end of day, or a Sunday, because I know it's usually quiet those times. Again, Bernardsville Center parking lot, there could be some on the newer side that got developed a few years back. There could be some room there. So we have a series of parking lots to choose from. Fortunately, whenever we are able to get better gathering space, that's great. It's tough to get cars on grass when there's a curb. And then I don't want to tear up grass. My heart would sink if I tear up those polo grounds because of cars just not being able to get out of mud or something, Can we use the polo grounds? Sure. Actually, Leah and I have been talking quite a bit about some events that we could do there. We have been toying with the idea of a carnival because of the Sacred Heart Festival that was around, but because we've never done one before, the carnival people are hesitant to work with us because they don't know how many people that we can get at our events. They obviously have never been to our events before, but that's okay. We can start small. So, we're toying around with some ideas of how we can use that space. The whole ice skating rink concept, it's still in the works. There's a lot of details there. One being that we need a very flat, very level surface. Polo grounds would not work, unfortunately. And we would destroy the grass underneath or the turf even. It would just be destroyed. So we obviously don't want to do that. I would love to use more green space as much as possible. Parking is always a question. And then figuring out how to make these events work and flow. And if we have discussions to figure that out, I am wide open to having that discussion.
Okay, I had a question for you, Olivia. The 5K in September, we had talked about doing that with the Health and Wellness Fair, that Recreation and Mayor's Wellness. So you didn't mention that, but I think that's still what we're working on. Yes, definitely. That is absolutely where we are partnering yet again with Recreation, because we had our event and Wellness Committee and the Wellness Committee. Yes, thank you. We had our 5K and everything went well, and we had our mini wellness fair, and it was horrible. And then Leah had her phenomenal event where she organized all these wonderful details. So all these folks showed up, and it was great. And there wasn't a lot of turnout. So if we combine and join forces on this whole thing, we think that we can knock it out of the park. So yes, that is definitely a really great partnership, especially with the health and wellness campaign. There's no question that this is going to be a hit. And we shifted the date slightly, a couple weeks, because as much as Labor Day is a great weekend to do things, a lot of people are out of town, and we didn't want to have anyone miss out on going to an event, because a lot of people said that to me. Oh, I would have gone to that, but and they were away. So a couple weekends later, hopefully will work out for everyone to come. Great, thank you so much. Anybody else have questions? Thanks for the update.
Thank you, Olivia.
Thank you, Olivia.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
Sounds great. Okay. Next, we have approval of minutes of December 27th, January 3rd, and January 10th.
I'll move the minutes for December 27th, 21st, January 3rd, and January 10th.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. We are now at our first public session. So if anyone from the public would like to speak, please raise your hand either with a little symbol or wave at us if you can't figure out how to do that. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes, and Anthony will hold up a timer so you can keep track of how long you're speaking. And give us your name and your address. So I see Johanna already has her hand up, so go for it.
Yeah, I want to thank Olivia. It's so exciting to hear about the things going on in our community. But I wanted to ask you while you're here quickly, do you think you could arrange to have a table or whatever works out for the Environmental Commission so we could do either education or public reach, whatever, at some of these events that might work out well?
Yes, I would suggest if you're not already on the email list, make sure to join that so that you're aware of when the paperwork starts to go out or when the announcements are for people to start joining in. So then at least, we know that we can have a spot for you if there's a vendor opportunity or whatever that is, because we usually have the forms so that we can stay organized and make sure we don't leave anyone out. So if you guys even can just at least fill out whatever the form is so that we can stay on track, that would be super helpful. So just keep an eye out for that kind of stuff and then send it our way so we can have a spot for you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
All right.
my pleasure.
Thanks, Johanna. I see Mindy Shaltree.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me and hearing my comment. My name is Mindy Shaltree. I live on 29 Old Army Road. And actually, I was emailing with Christine this week and asking about how I might go about having the town consider sidewalks on our road between Mullins and Anderson Hill. We're totally aware of all the work the town has done to assess traffic and make sure we're, kind of addressing the safety concerns on the road. But here we would love to kind of put on the agenda or ask for your consideration on sidewalks. And really, the reasonings are the same. So safety is the first. I personally have 2 children who are young, 8 years old and 5-year-old. Next year, they'll both be at Bedwell. I would love to have a future where they could walk to Bedwell and I could feel comfortable with them walking to Bedwell. I also have been working from home for the past 2 years, and looking out on my window here right on Old Army, I've been shocked at the amount of pedestrian traffic we have on this road. And it's not a surprise, actually, when you think about all of our surrounding streets have sidewalk infrastructure, and we're the one street that's kind of heavily trafficked that doesn't have the sidewalks to kind of connect this part of town. So I think, this part of Old Army would really kind of be a step forward in our goal of making the town more walkable. And again, I don't really know how this works, but just asking for your consideration. And actually, we have a number of Old Army neighbors on the phone tonight that we kind of gathered support among. So maybe I could ask if anybody else has a comment they want to make, or if we want to raise our hands, kind of indicating our Old Army support.
I see Tom, Amanda.
Yes, I'll add to echo what Mindy shared with you all. We are all in support of this suggestion, those of us that are on tonight. Amanda Modell, I'm at 25 Old Army Road. We have lived here, the home was purchased in 2009. And we also have a young child as well, a little boy that just turned 6. We are lucky to have property to play on safely, where some of the other front yards are a little bit more dangerous with the speed of the traffic that comes through our neighborhood. But the reality that he is in the walking zone for all 3 schools for the 13 years that he's enrolled in the town schools makes it very concerning as a parent. To not be able to allow him safely to connect up to Bedwell or the middle school or over to the high school. And being that we're really the only throughway street to all the schools that doesn't currently have a sidewalk. Once we get him to Old Fort or once we get him over to Olcott, there are sidewalks everywhere. But our neighborhood just trying to keep the traffic speed down to 25 and then also make it a safe area. In addition to the residents that live on this block that we're kind of looking at, which is from Anderson Hill to Olcott, which I believe contains about 26 homes, we have over a dozen children between ages 4 and 10 that are in the school system or very soon will be in our school system. But in addition to that, we have neighbors on all side streets, Anderson Hill and Highview and Old Fort and Mullins, that come walking through our neighborhood. So there is a lot of foot traffic, and it's concerning. We've had neighbors whose stone walls have been run into by vehicles. We've had telephone poles hit by vehicles. There's a nice downhill. If you're coming towards Anderson Hill, where you pick up speed naturally, there's a slight curve in the road. So I don't think there's anyone here, let alone those of us with children, that isn't concerned about the traffic level and the safety going. So we would love to learn more about the process, what we can do to support it, encourage it. We know it would be a major project, but we think that it's something that should be certainly put into some serious consideration for the safety factor. And then again, for connecting all of our side streets, Anderson Hill, Old Fort, Olcott, all of those great areas. I know our kids are also eager to get out their shovels in the winter and help the neighbors keep those sidewalks clean as well. So thank you for our consideration.
Thank you, Amanda. Chad, I see you've got your hand up too.
Oh, I didn't mean to,
No,
but
not you.
if I could respond,
there's another Chad.
that doesn't happen very often.
Yes, there's a Chad. I can't pronounce your last name. So
Mayor, if I could just respond real quick to Mindy, just
Amanda.
and Amanda quickly. So one of the things that will be discussed next week is council priorities for the next this coming year. One of which is a discussion about public works, safety, and walkability of the town. So there needs to be a process that we put in place for assessing and then prioritizing things just like you're discussing. Because I think as a council, we all generally believe that these are all good things that need to happen. And we're going to discuss the prioritization and how we best move some of those things forward over the coming months, years. So I guess what I'm saying is stay tuned next week if you're interested, join in. And then obviously this will be something that'll be discussed, going forward.
Yeah, and there are a number of neighborhoods that we've heard from that are all surrounding the school. So they're all on that list of, how do we address these? So we'll be talking about that at the next meeting and figuring out how we finance all this and get it into the budget and, or a bond for it. So yeah, I appreciate you guys bringing this particular piece to our attention. Okay, now Chad.
Yep.
Thank you. We just wanted to support to attend tonight to support this as well. Our kids are 8 and 10, so we have one in Bedwell and one in the middle school. So we're trying to encourage our kids, maybe not in January, but to walk from school, and they do a great job. So they have to go CNE to Old Fort, onto Old Army, and we have crossing guards and we have sidewalks on that route up until we get to Old Army. Then I have to instruct them to cross the road and face traffic so that when they see the cars coming, they can step off the road. So as a dad, it's a little worrying. So I think sidewalks would be a great addition. I don't know what side of the road, if you guys do go forward, which would be the best. I would leave that at obviously the discretion of the experts and you guys, but I think it would be great.
Thank you. Yeah, we usually rely on our engineers to tell us which, what side works and how the drainage all, works out. So hopefully we'll be getting those studies done. Anyone else? Any other hands up?
This is Tom Brady. I just raised my hand. I don't know if you saw it.
I didn't.
Okay.
All right.
Go ahead, Tom.
All right. Sorry.
Yeah.
Tom Brady. We've lived on Old Army for 30 years. I'm an architect and engineer. So I went to the town like 15 years ago, asking about the sidewalks, offered to help. And then more recently, probably around, about 2 years ago, I talked to John McDowell again. So I tried to get involved with this and also offered to help out. And also I'm seeing it from a technical eye. So I know it's complicated, At the same time, I really think it'd be worth it. I think it's like Mindy and Amanda and Chad's pointed out, for safety, pedestrian circulation, for stormwater management control, and for aesthetics as well, and just connecting all the roads together throughout the town, and especially near us. I think it would be a really good thing for the town. And I'm currently out of state doing a teaching position in Colorado, but once I could probably do it remote, but once I'm back, I'll be willing to help out on this project.
Thank you, Tom.
Sure.
Anyone else? I see Eva Bostic Brady.
You're on mute.
Eva,
Yeah,
you're on.
You need to unmute yourself.
I didn't ask to unmute, so there you go.
Hi, Eva Bostic Brady, 17 Old Army Road. I just wanted to reiterate and agree with what everyone else has said. I've lived on the road, as Tom has said, for almost 30 years, since 1993. And we've wanted these sidewalks for a long time. We've raised our kids, walking them to school without the sidewalks. And now I'm walking just for my own benefit and walking the dog. And sometimes it's difficult with all the cars racing by during the morning commute and the evening commute. There actually is a rush hour on Old Army. So trying to walk on the side of the road into people's yards and avoid the cars sometimes is a little bit dangerous. So I can only support this as highly as everyone else here has mentioned. And I really would appreciate the consideration. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Tom, can you maybe address some of how this process works?
Not being too familiar with the ownership status, but I think that's the first thing we would need to evaluate is, what is the status of ownership across all the properties? Does the borough actually have an easement or right of way in which it could actually do a project? Once that's determined, then we would do a preliminary engineering review to talk about those things like slopes and drainage and those sort of things. And then based on that is when we would just start thinking about budgeting. So like, do we have to pay to acquire easements? How difficult is that? So we would need to do an assessment, but really it would, I think, start with the ownership question.
Okay, and for those that don't, Tom Chernietsky is our town administrator.
Hi, everyone.
Yeah. So that's why I asked for his advice. So thank you, and hopefully we'll start addressing this next week. And we had a couple of sidewalks on the list, and we'll just add this to it. And I appreciate you coming and taking the time to bring it to our attention. Anybody else?
Thank you.
Looking to see if I see any other hands up. Anthony, do you see any?
No, Eva's hands up. I'll lower that one.
Okay.
I think we're good.
All right. Anybody else from the public wish to be heard on anything? Okay, I am not seeing any. So we'll move on to ordinances. I will open the public hearing on ordinance 2022-1907 concerning notices required for planning board and board of adjustment hearings and amending section 4-7 of the Borough Land Development Regulations entitled Hearings, Public Notice Required. Anyone from the public want to be heard on this ordinance? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing. Chad, would you like to move that?
Yes, Mayor. I move to pass ordinance 2022-1907 on final reading and adopt as published.
Second.
Is that Al? Yeah. All right, roll call, please.
Mr. Ambelang,
Yes.
Ms. Greenfield,
Yes.
Ms. McCready,
Yes.
Mr. McQueen,
Yes.
Mr. Romero,
Yes.
Ms. Zamara.
Yes.
I will open the public hearing on ordinance 2022-1908, granting renewal of municipal consent to Comcast to construct, connect, operate, and maintain a cable television and communication system in the Borough of Bernardsville, County of Somerset, New Jersey. Would anyone from the public wish to be heard on this? And I know, Jack, you spent a lot of time working out the details of this contract, so thank you for the time you invested. Seeing no comments, I will close the public hearing. Diane, would you like to move that?
I move to pass ordinance 2022-1908 on final reading and adopt as published.
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Ms. Zamara,
Yes.
Mr. Romero,
Yes.
Mr. McQueen,
Yes.
Ms. McCready,
Yes.
Ms. Greenfield,
Yes.
Mr. Ambelang.
Yes.
We are now up to resolutions. We have 2226 to 2236. Any that anyone has a question on or wants to discuss?
Go ahead, Al.
Chad.
No, please go ahead, Al.
I have two questions on resolution 2226.
Payment of bills? Yeah. Go ahead.
And then Mayor, maybe we pull out 34 as well, if you don't mind.
What's 34?
It's the topology resolution.
Oh, okay. Well, why don't we discuss them now and then we'll just put them back in if everybody's okay. So Al, what were your questions? We'll start with you.
Yeah, there are just two payments there that I wanted a little bit more information on. One was a payment to the Township of Randolph. It was relatively smaller, 1,100, but it just said it was for a Morris County co-op, and I just wanted more information on what that co-op was. That was the first. And the second is I saw a charge to Jesco Inc. for a John Deere equipment. I think that's the front loader, but I just wanted to confirm and get a little bit of information because that was a fairly large charge, $143,000.
So on the first thing, a co-op, it's a pricing co-op. So I forget how many local governments we're part of. I think it's about 70 now that belong to the Morris County Cooperative Pricing Council, and it's run by Randolph. So Randolph staff gets everyone's estimates for the year. So let's just say rec shirts or summer camp shirts. So they collect everyone's estimates and get a price on that. And their council, on behalf of all the members, goes through the legal reviews, the advertising. So that's our annual membership fee to be part of that. Probably over 100 different products that we're able to purchase. And it saves us the trouble of having to get quotes to comply with state law because they do it on our behalf and they do it based on large quantities. So we get economies of scale. And yes, that payment was final payment for the front end loader.
Okay, good. Thank you for clarifying that.
Okay. Yeah, the co-ops really, besides saving the time of having to collect different bids or quotes or do the paperwork, it also they really save us on money just by buying in quantity. So those are really a great cost savings. 2234, the topology. Chad?
Yeah, it was. So just, I guess this is a question for Tom C. So Tom, the topology general service agreement, is this in relationship specifically to their work that we appointed at the board the other day to investigate if the Palmer site was in an area of redevelopment, or is this a general service agreement for this plus Quimby like in an open way?
Right. So one is just an annual renewal so we can continue to use them as we need them for some of the old stuff. But then there was a separate one, specifically 2234, that's specific for the investigation.
So the 2234 is specific to the Palmer investigation?
Yes.
That's what planning board.
Okay. It wasn't clear in that resolution. Maybe I just missed it. I apologize if I did.
The other things that they're still involved in the Audi dealership with us, as well as Quimby, in having to make sure that we're following, the developer is following the development plan. So we still will be using their services.
Just like one good little point to raise is, and Councilwoman Greenfield called and asked me about that, is that we have their escrow now set up under the redevelopment agreement. And so those professional fees get charged to them now.
And I think there was, Gina also had a question about Joe DeMarco's fees as well. Aren't they also done through Advance now?
As long as it's the work's related to Quimby or Palmer, but there's other projects too, such as Audi.
Yeah,
Wouldn't
like
be the
Audi,
case.
yes,
Yeah.
that he's working on. So, okay.
Yeah, thanks, Mayor. That was going to be one of my questions for 28. And like, 'cause I was wondering if, like, we kind of have been doing these $5,000 increments. And I was wondering if there was just a standard budget line where we could do one resolution for one amount, or if these 5,000 increments are best to be done in the interest of the borough. I wasn't sure.
Yeah, I think probably the bet, we keep thinking we're going to be done with some of these things like outing, but they keep going on. So I think that's, why
sorry, Mayor, even if they do get charged to an escrow account, council still has to approve them.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
Yeah. Well, that's good to know.
Is that in perpetuity, or is that just till they start paying the bills direct?
No. So any appropriation. Yeah.
Okay. So is it better to continue to do these increments, Tom?
I think so.
Small
Yeah, I think
increments?
hopefully we're almost done with them too, I think, but yeah.
Okay, good. Thank you.
I'm solved, Mayor. I'm fine.
Nobody's questioning recreation fees. I thought you wanted to talk about.
So I mean, I sort of got the information that I needed from secondary source. So I have no challenge to the recreation fees if they've been fully deliberated and if they included increasing fees and costs for the year.
Okay, excellent. Okay, so would someone like to move resolutions 22-26 to 22-36?
Yeah, I'll move resolutions 22-26 to 22-36 be adopted.
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Ambeline,
Yes.
Ms. Greenfield,
Yes.
Ms. McCready,
Yes.
Mr. McQueen,
Yes.
Mr. Romero,
Yes.
Ms. Zamara.
Yes.
All right. We are up to mayor's update. So I did attend on January 12th in person, actually, the ICS 402 mandatory training for elected officials, which hopefully all of you will take at some point. It's the Incident Command System. That's what ICS stands for, which is a standardized management concept for emergencies, crises, disasters, that kind of thing. So it's a really good overview of how we handle, how this is all standardized and everyone knows what their job is. They're usually given actually they did a couple online and then a couple in person. So when we get the next notice, hopefully you'll sign up. The Somerset County Governing Officials Monthly Meeting was virtual. We had the election of officers and I am now vice president. And I saw Al there too. Yeah, Alan was there briefly. Hopefully the next month it will be in person and you're all invited to go as elected officials. It's a good way to network with other people from other towns. It's a nonpartisan group, so it's a really good networking. On the county call, which we're now only doing once a month, they had their reorg on the 7th. The commissioners, Chanel Robinson is again the director and Melanie Morano is the deputy director. And now I know why you waited for 4 hours, Gina, to get tested, because they gave us the numbers at the testing center just before Christmas. On the 28th, they had 1,100 people tested. On the 30th, they had 1,435. So they have been really had 4-hour lines there. They are still doing the vaccination clinic at the Lord and Taylor in Bridgewater, at the Bridgewater Mall. They've, I think, so far done 190 people since January 1st. We had The county came and did a vaccination clinic at the firehouse on Saturday, January 8th, and we had 199 people get vaccinated there, either first, second, or booster. And then the following Sunday, we had another one at the firehouse, and there were 88 people there. The county also has approved a position for a shared service coordinator, which I think will really be helpful. I know they've been trying to do shared services, but haven't really had the staff to do it. So now we'll probably be hearing more about that. I attended the downtown Bernardsville board meeting. We did the wreath cleanup at the at St. Bernard Cemetery for Wreaths Across America. Our Boy Scout and Cub Scout troops are just phenomenal. They came out, we must have had 15 or 16 scouts who we were done in 20 minutes. They were phenomenal. We had a meeting of the Mayor's Wellness Campaign Committee, and we are working on, actually, I just sent it today, an application to get there's 3 different designations. There's a healthy town up and coming, a healthy town to watch, and then a healthy town. So we're hoping to get the first one, since this is the first year we've applied, and we would get a nice big banner to hang at Borough Hall. So we were working on the application and our goals for next year. I attended meeting of the Somerset County Office on Aging. Somehow I'm on that advisory committee. They mentioned there is a really serious home health aide shortage. So if you know anybody, the county is looking for home health aides. Tom and I met with John Stuckey of Volta to talk about installation of EV charging stations. And Jack is currently reviewing the contract with them. They are looking to put 2 at the train station, 2 of the slow ones, and then 2 fast ones at the library. I think he said, Tom, correct me, it would take about 5 months to install once we okay it. And 10% of the viewer would be for us to put community announcements on.
Mary Jane, is there a reason why they would put the fast ones at the library? I would expect, because most of our restaurant parking happens at the train station.
I think they were thinking the slow ones for commuters, because you park your car, you leave it there all day and get on the train. Where the library, there's a lot going on up there where people may have lunch and, hang around.
Yeah, I would challenge the logic when the day finally gets there. I think the train station parking lot is far more utilized in our borough than the library one for a lot of our residents.
And again, Quimby, we may have more done there as part of the project as well. So yeah, but that's a good point. I will ask them about that.
And if anything, why don't we make all 4 of them fast?
Well,
I don't know anything about EV charging stations, but
the fast ones you pay for. The slow ones are free. I think that's kind of the deal. I mean, for the person plugging in.
Yeah, gas has a charge too. I have no problems charging for electricity.
Yeah. I did attend the quarterly meeting of downtown Bernardsville. I think a number of other council people I saw there. Was really good attendance and a great program. I recommend you try and attend them if you haven't. Our Stigma Free Committee for the county, we're still working on outreach to businesses and a mental health conference in May. Housing Committee, we had a meeting and we have 2 new members on that. And I just wanted to comment, I don't know if you're aware, there is a resource center at St. Bernard's Church that is run by our 2 police chaplains. And so far there, they have had 2 vaccine clinics. They've done a presentation by an immigration lawyer. And they've also, I guess, if you're a student in school and you get COVID, before you can come back, besides getting a negative test, you need a doctor's note. And the resource center was able to help 10 students get back in school who had no insurance and therefore couldn't get a doctor's note. They worked with the Sinatra and Peng pediatricians here in town, who donated some time. So they're doing good stuff there. They're there, I think, 2 days, 1 afternoon and 1 evening to help with filling out forms for some of our English challenged residents. So just if you weren't aware, it's a great program they're doing there. And that is my report. And next up is Tom.
Sure. Thank you, Mayor. Just a few quick things. We finished up tabulating all the surveys, and we'll be given a big picture overview at our meeting next week when we talk about priorities. Sad to announce that our zoning officer has announced, Jeff Price has announced his retirement coming up in April. So we have a job posting currently out on the New Jersey League of Municipalities website. So people are aware of that. We are attempting to place an order for about 12 new trash cans to go into the downtown area to replace some of those ones that are bent. We're going to be making more use of the concrete ones with the nice finish, the pebble finish, and we're buying lids. They came in today, so the new ones match the old ones. So a little spruce up there. The police department is now fully operational with respect to body-worn cameras. Rules and regs were issued by the chief and training provided. So that is now in use. And although we've had no major storms, our guys have been out there 5 times already, 3 times to salt and twice to plow. So fingers crossed things don't get much crazier for us, but they always do. And that's all I have for now.
Thank you. We have our department monthly reports. Do I have a motion to accept them?
I'll move to accept the reports.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And you should have the attorney's report. So public safety, Gina? Is that you?
Yes, it is me. And we did meet. Tom, I am not sure what we are allowed to bring here as far as topics go.
Sure. Well,
the crosswalk, I know we can.
yeah. So maybe I'll jump in a little bit and
thanks. That was a long meeting for public safety we had.
Right. It was a 2-hour-long meeting. Essentially, I think the main thrust was a discussion of filling in our vacancies and promotions, and much of that process was discussed. And we also spent a good deal of time addressing some of the pedestrian issues that were raised this evening, which will be brought forth to Public Works and the Finance Committee as well.
And the crosswalk?
Yep. The crosswalk, that seems to be a go, but what they put down, they can't put down in cold temperatures. That kind of, like you see, that kind of raised reflective material.
Yeah.
So all indications is once the spring rolls around, that'll go in.
Great.
And we are talking about extra lighting over in that area as well, because just the crosswalk isn't going to help much if it's still really dark.
Yeah, good point.
For the public, when we say they, we mean New Jersey DOT. They're doing it.
Yeah, sorry, because it's a state road across to the crosswalk by Bistro 73 and Power Training Center Laundry Shop over there from the train station across.
Yeah, much needed. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Tom.
Finance.
Yeah, we meet tomorrow, Mayor. So I believe it's tomorrow at 4:30, right, Tom?
Yeah.
So we'll continue deliberation of the budget tomorrow. We took a break over the holiday in December, so we'll get back at it tomorrow. I think we plan on having budget introduction and all the ancillaries in March, correct, Tom?
Yeah.
Council Organization Development and Personnel Committee, Christine.
We haven't met yet this year, so I think we're on the schedule for next week.
Yeah, next week. We'll shoot for next week.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Public Works is Diane.
Public Works met on the 18th. The committee reviewed the RFPs received from 4 companies for the position of borough engineer, and our recommendation will go to the full council for consideration. I believe that's on the agenda for the next meeting. The 2022 road repair options were discussed. The committee has added an additional option and will send all 4 options off to the finance committee. Dam remediation, a presentation for both breach / removal and reconstruction options are going through the process, and hopefully will be ready for council and for the public by the end of March. The pickleball court engineering is completed. The project was out to bid on 120, bids to be opened on 223. The goal is to complete the project by the time the pool opens. Extra electrical conduit will be run to facilitate any future lighting needs. The pickleball court plan does provide a bioswale as a portion of the project's stormwater management plan, and the Environmental Commission will be asked for their input on plant selection and placement. The Polo Grounds walking path. The permitting process has been ongoing since April 2021. A meeting was held with New Jersey DEP on 1/11 to close the loopholes on 2 permit requests, and hopefully the permits will be approved by the end of the month. Replacement of our UV disinfection system, which failed during Tropical Storm Ida. The new system is due from Glasgow UV, the beginning probably by May 1st. The temporary system in place currently is performing well. The library's lower level generator projects complete and closed out. The upper generators for the library, the lower generators for the borough construction offices and the medical offices. The medical offices down there have also expanded into Suite 104, which will add an additional approximate $35,000 per year rent revenue to the borough. Tom already talked about the trash receptacles. That's in conjunction with Downtown Bernardsville's design committee. And sidewalk paver restoration downtown. Work on the pavers in front of the karate studio was completed at the end of December, and a PO has been issued for resetting of the pavers in front of the new Bernardsville Print Center building, which will take place when the weather warms up.
Good summary. Thank you. Very thorough. You guys were busy.
We were.
All right. Other committee reports.
Can I just add one thing about the Public Works report? Because we did briefly mention Old Army Road sidewalk, and we agreed that, because it came up last year, and a lot of the residents that spoke about it tonight had inquired about it last year. So what we tried to do was come up with a compromise, and we installed, as you may recall, along with the chief's help and the borough engineer, like a speed radar sign that says your speed is, and we added some signage that alert drivers that there are pedestrians in the roadway. So some of you that use Old Army may have noticed the signs. So the consensus basically is that, yeah, those are great, but we really want a sidewalk. So that's why, you heard from some residents in that area. So John McDowell agreed that it is worth revisiting in terms of feasibility for that sidewalk.
Thank you, Christine.
So the planning board did meet last week, Mayor.
You did meet.
Yeah, we did. So part of the meeting obviously was a reorganization and swearing in of planning board members. The big item was moving the Palmer study forward, and that was part of the resolution that was passed tonight, which was the authorization of, I think, $7,500 to have them do the evaluation of that property, whether it meets the criteria for area of redevelopment.
Are they meeting again next week or this week? Are you meeting this week?
I don't think so. It's usually every other week. So we met last Thursday. So unless we're off schedule, it won't be until the following Thursday.
Okay, just checking. When is
I'm rubbing my head because I look every Wednesday morning to see if we have a meeting Thursday.
When is Community in Crisis coming? Do you know? To planning board?
That is at the next meeting. So I believe that was introduced last week.
Okay, just trying to keep track of that project.
Yeah. And Mayor,
Um,
I'll look for you, see where they are on the schedule, if that's what you like.
Okay, yes, thank you.
Yep, I'll take a look.
Do we have any other liaison reports?
I have
You can give
housing.
Diane?
Housing met on 121, and the committee discussed priorities for the beginning of the year to include working on an Airbnb ordinance, which would also address stash houses, continued work on a potential perimeter fence ordinance, and updating of forms and procedures that residents can use to report on any problems pertaining to housing, property maintenance, and zoning issues.
And I think the other one on top of that is rec, Mayor. Tom, I don't think I'm getting in front of my skis for the suburban engineering priorities. Is that something we can talk about at this point?
Yes, yeah.
So priorities were set for sort of phase one of the Polo Grounds redevelopment master plan project. And Suburban is moving on 4 priorities, one of which, and Tom, if I get these correct, I didn't write them down, connecting the Autobahn with the trail, the master path, the lighting, and the pavilion. So engineering studies are moving forward on all those 4 projects to assess feasibility budgets. And obviously they're going to be part of our discussion next week when we talk about priorities for the
It
council.
was also the trails at 271.
Thank you. I knew I was missing one.
Yeah, that was the 4th one. Any other committee meetings?
Yeah, I can give a Board of Health update.
Okay.
Board of Health met 2 weeks ago on the 10th. There was likewise a reorganization meeting, so relatively quicker, but 3 new members, Brian Wallace, Rhonda Simoff, and Lenny Amberling were appointed. Len Friedman was elected president again, and Francine Delarusso elected secretary. And then the health officers report, just a couple of good things. All the overtime for healthcare workers over the last few months were paid for by grants from the state. Actually, we got 3 grants to pay for it. We approved the visiting nurses contract, Atlantic visiting nurse, which is a continuing contract. And then I talked about the potential spike in the COVID cases at the last meeting, so I won't go into that again. But a good meeting, and the next one is in March, roughly March 10th, every other month.
Thank you. Jay, I think you had environmental.
Yeah, environmental committee commission met on January 12th. Started with introduction of for new members. The other agenda items were talking about prioritization. A lot of stuff going back and forth on that. The focus is being around water quality, carbon footprint, which include EV charging, and continuing education. The other thing we spent some time on was talking about education and, frankly, opportunities for helping with the plastic bag ban for single-use plastic bags, which will go into effect in New Jersey on May 4th.
All right, thank you. Did Shade Tree meet? Is that Christine? Are you Shade Tree?
We didn't meet either, so, but I don't think they have anything on the calendar as far as when the next one is.
Yeah, they're kind of getting.
I think they're in
reorganized
limbo
there.
a bit.
Yeah. So is the green team.
Yeah, and open space.
Oh,
didn't meet.
Johanna has her hand up though.
We did meet.
that
We
for
met
Shade Tree?
Wednesday.
Oh, Shade Tree did?
Yeah. And I'll just tell you quickly, we're setting up things for spring. That's when we're mostly busy. But Renee, I spoke to Renee and she gave her permit report. There was 9 last month, and the whole year there were 158 permits for tree removal that she attended to. And of course, we spent a lot of time because we're very sorry that Ed English is not going to be with us. He was a very active member. He used to get the trees for the tree handout that we did on e-waste day. So we're going to have to regroup and pick up some of the attrition that we have. So,
yeah, thank you.
Mayor, can I ask a quick parking EV question?
Yeah.
So I guess I'm asking this of Anthony and of Tom. Do we have an assessment at this point what percentage of the train station is actually used for commuter parking versus I guess downtown parking? I know in the past we've really lost the number of stickers that are used for commuter parking. Could we get an assessment of that at some point in the future?
We would have to do that for you. We don't have it handy.
Yeah, I didn't think you'd have it handy, but it's something that especially as we consider EV and other parking situations in the development of Quimby, it probably would be a good thing for us to understand.
Maybe what might be used is a comparison pre-COVID to COVID to coming out of COVID.
Yeah.
You know, how it's changed.
I can get you a comparison from like what we sold in the 2019 through the 20 and 21 now to 22. I can get that for you.
Yeah, it would be useful. I don't know if 20 spaces are used, 5 spaces, just some benchmarking would be useful.
Sure.
Thank you, Anthony.
But even if they're not, they still belong to New Jersey Transit. So it's not like we can take them over.
No, unless we make a wonderful case, there may be a something we have to discuss. So,
right, Jack, right? We are obligated to hold them for New Jersey Transit, even if people aren't using them to commute.
Yeah, we have an agreement with New Jersey Transit as to which spots are allocated to commuters and which are allocated to shopping, to downtown shopping. The other thing is the number of permits dropped off dramatically before COVID.
Yeah. Jack, could we get, I mean, all that stuff predates this council. Could we just get a summary along with Anthony, just how many spaces are dedicated? That would help.
Sure, I can send him, I've actually got a map that Michael Mondock prepared, which shows all the spaces and to whom.
Thank you, Anthony. We don't need the number of tokens then. Just the way it's allocated is probably instructional.
Are they, is that negotiable, Jack, or not?
I think it is.
Okay, so Anthony, I'm going to put it back on. We do need to know how many people are using them.
Okay, that's okay.
The hard part is getting New Jersey Transit to respond.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it's negotiable.
But if we could prove that, you know, we have so few commuters, put more over to shopping.
Yes.
So that would be
we can
great.
certainly talk to them.
Okay, great.
Thank you, ma'am.
Any other committees?
Open space did not meet, or at least if they did, I didn't know about it. They haven't invited me yet. But I did reach out to Pat for, to introduce myself as a liaison and hoping that, get on the calendars whenever they do. And I'll attend. But library did meet. So again, same reorg meeting. They put in their presidents and the secretaries. And I guess they of course did their budget and things. But the other thing that was a topic that might come back to council was a high school student and the Windbush that they want to put in. And I guess it was presented that it might go to the library, and they were going to do a little bit of research. They were asking some questions that they didn't yet have answers to. So they held off on making any recommendation, but also discussed putting it at Irvine Park. So
we've been talking, this is Ashlyn Barama, who is a junior at Bernards High, who actually, it started with me and I've kind of been giving it to everybody. He has this really unique idea, and I know he met with Johanna. He's already raised, I think, $5,000 towards this. The last we talked, because the more we thought about the library, there isn't really a good spot where you're looking now, possibly the Polo Grounds, or it could be Nervine Park. The problem we have is for him to collect donations, he needs a sponsoring 501c3 organization. Because people don't, want to donate to the borough. It's not the same as writing it off, getting the tax deduction. So that's kind of where we are right now, is just finding someone, a sponsoring group that can accept the donations on his behalf. And Jay has been kind of helping along with that project too, but it's a really interesting concept. And there was a big article in the paper about him in the Burnsville News last week, I think.
Yes.
Really, great initiative for a young person. But we'll see where it goes. We're hoping. Anyway, Thank you.
Good, thanks.
Did we have any others? I think we covered them all. All right, items of business. We have a request for a temporary sign at Olcott Square by the Bonafides. For March, I think it was, they want to do a fundraiser? So they wanted a sandwich board to put in the island on Olcott.
Is there some kind of exception, or is this like a normal sign?
They are, because they're not located in Bernardsville. If they're in Bernardsville, then Jeff can just sign off on it. But because they're a Somerset Hills group, it's an exception to the policy. So that's why it comes to us.
Mayor, what's the group
if I can just ask that if council does want to approve it, that a condition be that we review it for site distance clearance. In other words, to make sure traffic can see around the corner and that it's not blocking the site triangle.
I think usually Jeff takes care of that, but
okay.
I think we just have to say whether or not we will allow it.
Is there a period of time on it?
I think we allow it for 2 weeks. I'm just looking for the ordinance here in the packet. I thought it was here. I thought Jeff had sent us the.
They want to put it from a placement date of April 29th to May 14th. So basically, yeah, it's 2 weeks.
And who is the group again? I missed that. Sorry, Mary Jane.
The Bonafides of Somerset Hills. They're a, I don't know how you, it's kind of a, you know, I think it's all women. They have been around forever. They raise money and then they make awards to different groups. They usually do a couple of fundraisers and then give the money away. So they're doing a bingo basket raffle on May 13th at St. James Church.
I personally don't have a problem with it, Mayor, pending Tom and Jeff's approval of site distance and the things that concern Tom.
And they do, you know, because they serve the Somerset Hills, that includes us, even though they're not located here. So,
okay, fine by me.
Yeah, I approve it too.
Okay.
As long as they don't put it in front of the baseball sign. It's my only stipulation.
Uh-huh. Well, it's nice that they ask. A lot of people don't ask. All of a sudden signs just appear in there. So.
And they stay there forever. Yes.
Yeah. like the holiday signs.
Yes.
So. Yeah. Next, 10B Board of Adjustment vacancy, which is a council appointment. I believe Anthony sent. And usually what happens, and this was because, again, Ed English resigned. And I didn't realize till I got his note how many organizations he serves on in this town. He is probably the most dedicated volunteer that we have had. He does incredible things. This is going to be a big hole in all our committees, you know, from Board of Adjustment, we're going to have to do something for him.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing, Mayor. I think we probably should find a way to recognize that.
I'm just glad he kept the farmer's market, because if he had quit that, it would be like, huh.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm sorry, Mayor, I know that it was sent with the packet and I did not have an opportunity to review all of the skills banks forms that were pulled. So, you know, to come up with any, you know, information or recommendation for this evening.
Can I ask a process question? And I guess I'm asking this of Jack. Look, the Board of Adjustment is a critical committee for us as we're going through redevelopment. Is it possible to have public conversation with candidates or private ones about their priorities and their visions and as part of?
Absolutely. And I would suggest that discussion be in public, and then if you want to deliberate, you could do that in private.
Okay. I would like to propose that maybe for this position, because it's such a critical board for us, that we have a public discussion, maybe select 1 or 2 candidates to come and speak publicly.
Yeah.
So I would like to do the appointments that are in the agenda. So it's on page
well, the only appointment is
99.
Bumping everybody up one.
Right. So I think Anthony said that we have to make a motion for Rich Trainer as a regular member and Ed McDowell as alternate one. So we can do that. And then I also want to add something about the other 2. So we're filling 4 vacancies in total, maybe not all tonight, but the 2 we should do tonight, correct?
I don't think we have to do 4. I think we only need to do 1.
We're just moving everybody up.
Yeah, in other words, Tom Carton moves up 1, and then our alternate 1 becomes a regular member.
Yes.
Alternate 1. They don't actually want 4 alternates according to their chairman. So
technically, all those people are resigning from their positions that they're in now and then being appointed to 1 slot up.
So we really only need to do this. Then Tom Slocum moves up to 2, and then we need a 3. Oh, we don't really.
So not 4.
4. Actually, that's what Dave Greenabon told me. He said he's not in a hurry to get 4.
So just to make sure we're clear, so Rich Trainer is moving from alternate 1 up to a full-time member.
Yes.
Do we have to move that as a resolution, or is that a voice? How do we do that, Jack?
You can just do that by motion.
Okay. I'll move to move Rich Trainer from alternate 1 up to full-time Board of Adjustment member.
Now, Anthony, do we know the term? It's a non-expired term. Do you know when it's?
These are so confusing with all these dates.
It says 12/20, 12/31/23.
Right.
So
that was Ed's term, went to 23. Yep.
He would take, Ed's term.
Yeah.
So, but can I question that? Because didn't we change that all new appointments are for 1 year, Mayor?
We can't do that to statutory boards.
Okay. All right.
I'll second Chad's motion, but then I have a question about the here. So my question is, and I think we're kind of all talking about it, but just to be clear, there's 4 alternates because there's the opening with Ed English. We're moving the first alternate into an actual board seat, and then plausibly we can move up the other 2 alternates to 1 and 2, and then separately, Christine said that she has potential ideas for others, and Chad has a proposal, which I think is a great one, to make sure that for additional alternates in the future, that we actually are putting them in a public hearing and then sort of going back and talking about the top candidates. Is that sort of what we're talking about here?
That's what I think. That's what I would propose. I would agree with you.
We did that. I think the last time we had an opening, we did that with the last 2 alternates. We
2019, we did it.
Yes, we had them come to a council meeting and just introduce themselves. And there was a list of 6. I don't know if anyone has actually spoken to all 6 of them to make sure that they're still interested and invite them to come to the meeting, and then we'll see who actually.
Is it possible for Anthony to reach out, because he sort of is a collector of the skills forms, to reach out and say, are you still interested? And if so, we'd like you to attend a public hearing on this date.
Sure. If you want me to do that, sure, I can do that.
Yeah,
you want to do it for the
check
next
with those 6,
Yeah.
Because sometimes people check it off and then their life changes and they're not interested anymore. So.
And then, Anthony, I think we should provide some framework to what we were looking for them. So maybe, it's 60 seconds about why they would want to be on the Board of Adjustment, their vision for the borough, and then maybe 1 or 2 council questions, and, less than 5 minutes a person. It doesn't have to be long.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, out of the 6, you may only get 2 that actually comes. And then we're good.
I'm going to shoot for the 14th.
So I just.
Sorry.
Yeah, the next meeting.
Okay,
Next
the next
regular
meeting.
meeting.
Sure, we'll do.
Christine, I'm sorry.
So when I just wanted to input that I did review the ones that we were given from Anthony, and there is someone who's extremely qualified and extremely interested in it based on my conversation with her. And she's also on this meeting because I didn't know if that was happening tonight. I thought it was because it was on there, but her name is Danielle Loeffler. So she's just one on the list. And, obviously you should review all of them, but in my review and my, past conversations with some of the other ones as well, I think especially if there's only going to be one person, then I think we should really, consider her background is amazing and has really a great perspective on, would add a very different dimension to our current zoning board of adjustment in terms of, you know, what she brings to the table from her work experience.
Great.
So she's on there. I mean, I don't know if it would be unfair to talk to her now, or if you want to just have her come to the 14th.
Oh, we probably should do them all at once, I think, just so everybody has, you know, an equal opportunity. I mean, it's a council decision, so what do you want to do? Council president?
You know, I'm always trying to be respectful of everyone's time. Is the person, so what was the person's name, Christine?
Danielle Loeffler. Actually, she is here.
She is there. Danielle, do you mind coming to the next meeting? I know you've probably been waiting, and I didn't realize that you'd be here tonight. Do you mind coming in 2 weeks to speak for 5 to 7 minutes? We can give you a specific time slot.
Sure, that's totally fine. I work in development and construction, so I'm usually attending these planning and zoning meetings from the other side. So
I'm so sorry.
It's not a waste of my time. I'm used to this.
Yeah, I mean, I think we all have the goal. We want to get somebody great. And Christine, obviously, we trust your recommendation. I think it'd be great to speak to you. I'd like to do them all at once so they're all together. If that's not too much of a trouble to ask, Danielle.
No, totally understand.
All right, thank you.
And of the 6, we may only get 2 that really want to follow through. So,
you know, I think I'd likely,
Christine.
Yep, I think so too. And I think, you know, look, I think this is, we get skills bank forms all the time as a council, right? We probably get, one a month. I think with this type of a thought process is one we should probably either put a resolution on the books. I mean, Jack, there's no official process for in-year replacements or is there?
No, there's not an official process.
I mean, I think at least that it's my personal opinion is that, you know, these people do really important work for our town. We should probably speak with them before they go on any of our committees, whether it's rec or whatnot, before we start to appoint people. That's sort of my opinion. How does everybody else feel?
Yeah, we can certainly do a resolution setting forth a process for planning board, board of adjustment, whatever other boards or commissions you think should be included.
I think.
How does everybody feel about that?
I think planning board and board of adjustments are different entities from the other committees.
Yeah. I think you're right.
Well, and planning board is me. I mean, I just do that myself.
That's an appointment, but those are mayoral appointments except for the class 3 member. That's right.
Yeah. But I think for board of adjustment, because it's 6 of you making that decision, you should have a process where you all are familiar.
Well, so Anthony, we'll put together a very quick framework, and you know, let's have in 2 weeks a quick conversation. Let's target 5 to 7 minutes per interested person, and I'm sure we'll find a great candidate, and you know, maybe that person will be Danielle, and we'll thank her for coming back again.
And unfortunately, our next meeting is Valentine's Day, you know. So forget your plans for dinner.
My wife hates Valentine's Day, so
yeah, going out on Valentine's Day is the worst. It's always not a good experience anyway. So better we have a council meeting. Okay, we're up to 10C. We have an environmental commission vacancy.
We didn't vote. I'm sorry, Mayor. We didn't vote on the motion to move everybody up.
Okay, so I'll move to appoint Rich Trainer as regular member of the Board of Adjustment for an unexpired term to 12/31/23.
What, you want to just finish that?
Can we do all of them at the same time?
Sure. Edward McDowell is alternate number 1 for the unexpired term 12/31/23, and Thomas Slocum to alternate number 2 for unexpired term 12/31/22. And then I'll further move that we'll interview members for alternate number 3 2 weeks from tonight.
Or 3 and 4 if we have 2.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah.
I'll second.
All right. Do we need just an all in favor? Yeah. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Opposed? No. We're good. Okay. Now we are moving on to Environmental Commission vacancy. So this is my appointment. We had one other skills bank, and that was Dan Zielinski. Oh, he's actually here. Dan, you want to just say hi?
Sure. Hello, my name is Dan Zielinski. sure if you can hear me. I live in 15 Lane.
Hi, Dan.
And excited to volunteer and be a part of the environmental committee if you'll have me.
All right. Well, thanks for coming tonight. And yeah, that's my appointment. So is that all I have to do is say you're on? All right. And
congratulations.
Actually, you should specify the term. I assume it's Ed's unexpired term.
Yes. I don't know what his is. Do you, Anthony?
Well, wouldn't that fall into the 1-year appointment categories?
It's commission.
I will look it up.
Tonight, it's for the unexpired term, and then Anthony can fill it in.
Okay.
I'll look it up and see
We're
what it is.
appointing him for the unexpired term, and you will hear from Johanna Wissinger, who is on this meeting as well. She is the chairperson, so.
And congratulations, Dan. Thanks for volunteering.
Yeah, thank you for your time, Dan.
Thank you.
Okay. Next is the Open Space Committee vacancy. We did get a skills bank request from Ross Zazzarino. And there is, I think there's more than one vacancy on open space, but so that's my recommendation, but we need council consent.
So this is a mayoral recommendation with council consent?
Yes, it's mayoral appointment with council consent. Yes.
I'll move the consent.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Nobody opposed? Okay. I don't think we had any correspondence. I didn't see anything.
No.
Unfinished business.
I have one, Mayor.
Yes.
So obviously a week from tonight, we have our council meeting to discuss, and sorry for the look away, I'm actually looking at my other screen, to discuss council priorities for the year. Thanks to the mayor's and Tom's leadership, I think we've come to a form for us to appropriately frame the considerations that we could have as a council for the next 12 months and beyond. The elements of this framework involve the following. Number one, it's a goal and a vision for what that would look like. So I'll give you an example of what you'll see in your inbox. So for the economic development revitalization, the goal is to create and support a vibrant economy and attract thriving businesses to our business district. It then has a quality aspect where we have a current assessment of the current situation. And then below it has a series of master tasks, subtasks, responsibilities, approval and step requirements, financing, and target dates. Like we discussed at the last meeting, unfortunately, either as a council, as well as, financing of the borough, et cetera, we can't move all priorities forward at the same time. So the goal at our next meeting will be to review this document, make sure that we have language that we're all satisfied with, begin the prioritization process at the meeting next week. From there, Tom C will then do a feasibility assessment as to either budget and or resources internally in regards to what can be done and get done, to then bring back to the council for us to make trade-offs if necessary as to what we can move forward and what we can't. So that's sort of the 10,000 foot view. There's an Excel file that the mayor developed, which I think is really eloquent, which will frame the conversation in your comments, which I will send out tomorrow to the whole team, and you can make your own comments. If you want to send them to me in advance, it's fine. But obviously this will be a discussion that we have in public forum.
Thank you, Chad.
All right.
Yeah, and actually Tom and Chad and I spent some good amount of time on this, so I think we've got it kind of honed in.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
I have a question, Tom. Did you? There was supposed to be some kind of input on this with the survey that went out.
Yeah.
Is that included as well?
So that will be ready to review. No one's seen the results yet, but those will be shared on Monday night.
Next Monday night. Okay.
Yeah, right, and hopefully that will then influence some of how we do our work on Monday.
Good, Jay? Are you happy with that?
Yep. Thank you.
Okay.
Any other unfinished business? Any new business? Okay, we now have our second open session. If anyone from the public would like to be heard. please raise your hand, limit your comments to 3 minutes, and give us your name and address. Olivia, I just saw your hand pop up there. Your real hand. Oh, go ahead.
My real hand. I can never find the hand. I know it's somewhere, but by the time I find it, I've missed my opportunity. I'm asking a question here in this moment on behalf of downtown Bernardsville. And forgive my ignorance in how this works, and please just shush me if it's not a thing. But I'm curious, in hearing all the committee reports tonight, a lot of the things that our downtown Bernardsville committees work on, there can be some crossover. There can be some areas where we can assist, or perhaps you might already have something that can assist us in our work. So I'm curious if it's something that would be beneficial to both the Borough Council and us to have a council member as a liaison and have downtown Bernardsville be sort of not a committee formally, but having that sort of connection on a regular basis. I know Tom and I have met a few times, and we want to do that at least once a month. But I don't know if there's other opportunities where we can connect a little bit more regularly on some of the work. Diane was gracious in mentioning that we are working on those trash cans with the borough and making sure that those not so nice trash cans get replaced, etc. So, we just want to make sure that we're still jiving together, because we are here to help you, and obviously the other way around. So I don't know if that's even a possible thing, but that's my question.
I think part of what, and it's a very good question, because I think a lot of our activities dovetail. And I'm hoping that that's my role on the Downtown Bernardsville board, is kind of listening to what's going on and being able to say, hey, we can, like, for example, we were trying to get the plaques on the next to the mural. And, so you were frustrated. I reached out to John, he's working with trying to get New Jersey Transit. So I'm hoping that, as long as we keep talking, we'll see those opportunities. And I think meeting with Tom on a regular basis is also good. But
okay.
Yeah, I'm here. Talk to me anytime you want.
Okay. No, I mean, we have that covered. I just wanted to see if it was beneficial in any way to continue those connections. And I know Diane is already on our design committee, which is phenomenal. But that's not a formal position for her as a council person. That's just Diane, the resident, because she likes working with us, and I conned her into doing it. Nope, I didn't. But it was just a curiosity point, but that works for me.
Can I guess I'll ask a secondary question, Jack, at what point, because I know that it's part of our infrastructure planning discussion that we're going to have next week, we talk about committees. At what point does council debate and deliberate what committees we have, either by statute or by resolution?
We can do that at any point. We can just put it on the agenda and have a discussion.
It's actually on one of our priority lists there.
Well, that's why I was bringing it up, Mary, because knowing that, and what I heard from Olivia was, maybe there's a committee that has value, especially with the focus that I'm looking at as I'm looking at the spreadsheet in regards to making our downtown
the other
great.
thing I'm thinking is it could go the other way, is maybe the chair of the design committee could be on the downtown redevelopment committee.
Yes, and also our economic vitality committee is also focused quite a bit on our economic restructuring in the town. So, there's what Chad was just mentioning earlier about that being a potential priority.
Yeah, I hate to ask your board members to do more, but they might want to sit in on those meetings.
Well, I did hear that Councilman Greenfield knows resident Greenfield quite well, so that helps.
Yeah, but no,
I will do anything for you, Olivia.
Oh my God, you're the best. Thank you.
But those are the kind of, we can do those back and forth if you think, if they want to put in the, little extra, and we don't meet, maybe it's once a month, it's an extra meeting, but at least they'd be up to date on where we are with the projects, and, if they want to sit in on those meetings, I'd be happy to invite them.
Yeah, let me know. Whatever makes sense for everyone. Obviously, we're all giving each other more work here. So clearly, whatever makes the most sense. But as you are having your discussions, remember that we are here. Remember that we are here to help. We are all fighting for the common goal, which is to grow our town and make it a wonderful, thriving place to be. So let's focus on that as much as we can. And if something comes up that you can't do but really want to get done, then maybe we can, or maybe we already are. So that's all.
Thank
I appreciate it. Thank you.
And Johanna has her hand up.
Yeah, Johanna was your Environment Commission. Wanted to bring up the topic of salt. I've been connected with another environmental group, a regional group, and the Great Swamp has reached out, and a lot of talk about all the salt that's used. So if I could have somebody, or maybe if Tom, I would go directly to the Works Department. I have had Tom, I know members have gone to these meetings about salt, but I really wish the town would think about brining. I don't know, it seems to be a way that people are saying really uses much less salt, and they're talking about cost. But if I could connect with somebody, or maybe Tom, or get your permission, if you're open-minded about changing, I'm sure we've been talking about this for years, the Environmental Commission. So I don't know if any of the members on the council have considered the problem. The number one pollutant for the Great Swamp is salt. And I've seen just last week unbelievable charts of how salt, because it accumulates, has grown and has affected wildlife. And
Johanna, has the Environmental Committee sort of assessed the situation, the costs, what the current practice is? Have you guys all written this down in regards to what the recommendation is and what you'd like to do?
We have not formally presented it to the council lately, no. But we're collecting this information all the time. We hear it. I mean, there's a lot of information out there. Would you like me to prepare a report for you?
I mean, I would be interested to hear and to understand, the issue, the costs, all the various inputs that would go into it. I think that's, something that's really valuable that our committees can provide us. Because each issue we can't individually investigate.
Good. I'm glad to hear you say this, because I don't like to spin my wheels for nothing, and it's not a grain of salt. So yeah, that's great. I'm glad to hear that you're interested in that, and we'll do that.
Yeah, I'm not saying that yes, I'm just saying I'm interested in hearing the information.
Interested, that's good. Good.
Yeah. No, I think, to know what the alternatives are, and, that way it helps us plan.
Yep.
That would be
Good.
great.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Johanna. Anyone else from the public wish to be heard? Just looking down the list. I am not seeing any. Anybody? Okay, I will close the public session. We do have a closed session. We're not coming out though, are we? We're not.
Hey, before we go into closed session, there's one other item if we could do. It's just a quick resolution. The borough's waste disposal contract with Secudis Brothers Disposal Inc. They've been bought out by Republic Service, so they asked us to consent to an assignment of the contract. So if we could just do a quick resolution, be it resolved that the council hereby consents to the assignment of Secudis Brothers Disposal Inc.'s September 21 contract with the borough to Republic Service of New Jersey, LLC. And John McDowell said Republic's already been picking up for a period of time anyway.
Okay. Somebody move that, what Jack just said.
And say, I'll move what Jack just said.
Yeah,
what Jack just said.
Make sure you get that in the minutes, Anthony.
Yes. Do you have a second?
I'll second what Jack just said.
Okay. Roll call, please. Right.
Mr. Ambling?
Yes.
Ms. Greenfield?
Yes.
Ms. McCready?
Yes.
Mr. McQueen?
Sure.
Mr. Rivero?
Yes.
Ms. Zamara?
Yes.
Been interesting.
Thanks. It was just a housekeeping matter, but thank you.
With garbage people, everybody's buying out everybody. I can't keep track of who my carrier is anymore.
I can't either. And to be honest, I think the carriers just changed the days, and I got no clue.
I know. My garbage has been out for 4 days. I don't know when they're coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All the trucks are changing too. I'm like,
Yeah.
great.
I had to intervene on behalf of the Bernardsville Print Center because they hadn't picked up downtown behind those stores at the old Bernardsville Print in like 2 weeks. Because the driver didn't know the garbage was in the back. He thought it was going to be out on the street.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So I know they're still working on it, getting it together. Anyway, so we are not coming out of the closed session. I don't think we're not.
We're not.
We're not going
Not for anything of mine, anyway.
We're not acting on anything. So do I have a motion for closed session?
I will make the motion to go into closed session.
Do I have a
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Hi.
Aye.
Bye.